Hey everybody, I hope that you are well. It has been a while since I've done a video and a fairly long time since I have done a video in this form, but I did want to go through some photos and kind of give you my thoughts on the A7R5 after 6 months. I originally picked this camera up in January of 2023, and I just wanted to, kind of go through here and take you through these photos. Now, most of this is cosplay because everybody knows I'm a cosplay photographer, but there are other photos from other photography jobs that I have taken. And I just wanted to try and demonstrate, kind of what this camera can do and just really try to talk through some things. Um, One of the things that you know about me is that I look at, I judge a camera or anything that I use by the results that I get and by how it works for me out in the field. Um, all of the lab tests and chart tests and all of that kind of stuff, it doesn't really help me. It's the results that I can feel and see with my own eyes. So let's take a look. So this first photo was from and we got a lot of photos here to go through. So I think it's like 40 something. Um, and I'm doing the befores and afters so you can see what it looks like when it came out the camera and some of the edits that I did. So just kind of something to be aware about. So taking a look at this first image, this one was shot at Anime Milwaukee. I believe it was back in February when I went. So one thing that just I think really sticks out is the detail, even on the before image, which is on your left, is on the left of the screen, and the after is on the right. And just going right into the eyes, you can see the sharpness. But I think one of the things that you're going to see, and something I'm probably going to say over and over again, is one of the things that has been that is really amazing about the A7R5 that I can see is that the color performance is um, just really good. And I'm saying that as someone who has used prior Sony cameras, the A7R5, A99, A57, when Sony was doing the whole A mount thing, and you know, this is some of the best color performance that I've seen out of Sony cameras in the 12, 12 to 15 plus years I've been shooting with Sony, and it is just absolutely amazing what I'm seeing here. And I've been someone who has been a staunch defender of Sony cameras, Sony color performance over the years. Really going after people about saying that the color was, arguing that the color wasn't good, and I've always thought the colors were pretty good, but this is probably some of the best performance I've seen out of them. And this one really, I think it does a okay job. But one thing I will point to is in the kind of stockings, you can see the detail. Again, lots of cameras, lots of lenses have problems with those really fine lines that you see, and this camera does a great job at it. Moving on, I think you can see the kind of color performance here um, on the face. Um, the eyes look great. The detail in the hair. This is a wig basically, but you can see the you can just see a lot of the good things that are going on in this camera, and just the kind of things that you have to play with. you know and I'll tell you this before image on the left, that would have that image is more than sufficient to is more than the winning photo. And the couple of tweaks that I made, you know um, they just only added onto how well that the image performs, how well the image is coming straight out of the camera. Moving on to this next one. This is one of those hallway shots at a lot of conventions that you might see. But again, a few tweaks. And it does just an excellent job with the performance of how it handles lighting and how the light how it handles highlights and things like that. And you can see you can bring things back. You can just make stuff look really great and really extract really nice color out of it. And I'm going to point to this a few times. In the past, I have had a lot of problems with cameras being able to grab that eye and both eyes in focus after through glasses, and this one does it well. And I have to say it is that AI autofocusing that is giving this kind of performance. Again, some of the best perform auto eye autofocus performance that I've seen on any Sony camera over the last 14, 15 years that I've been shooting Sony. So, it just does a great job. Grabs all three sets of eyes, fairly well. Moving on to the next one. Again, you can see that this camera has a lot of dynamic range too. There'll be other images that will be able to demonstrate that a little bit better than this. But I did like this photo, and one thing I like about it is just the color in here. I think that's the one I like, and you can see the change even in the skin. How one is a little bit more yellowish, and that was because there was a lot of sun out that day. But the dynamic range just really allows you to make those very good changes, and you can just really fix that. And that was a challenge with something in the past, is that once the scan got a certain color, it was very, very difficult to change. And you can see how a couple of adjustments allows me to get a very nice change even in the skin, where you're looking at the before and the after, you can see the difference between the two. So again, this is something that the files that come out of the A7R5 are, they just look really good. And that's something that, that's something that I just have to say, and that is one thing I've been pleasantly surprised by. I love the way that the photos looked out of the A7R3 when I shot that for 4 years, but the files were not as flexible as this one. So, so when people argue that image quality is not improved, well, I don't know. I think I disagree with that one, just based on what I've been shooting. Here's another really nice image. You can really extract color out of this, and make the image look really nice. And when I post these photos on my Facebook, on my Instagram, and send them to my clients, they fall in love with the images. And one thing I like about them is just the color and the detail. And that's one thing that you really like to capture in cosplay photos. Again, another great example of how you can, and I just want to point out to the hair, the wig. You can clearly see the difference between the two once you start to make those finer adjustments. And I think this really demonstrates very well how it does that. And there's so much data in most files, and these are all I've shot. Everything here is compressed. You can just really see the difference and all of the very large color profile that is in the files of the A7R5. It's another good example here. I think this one speaks for itself. Lighting, everything like that. This one came out very, very well. Just another great example of how this, of how it performs and how it just really unlocks the detail. This was a client shoot, and these clients got back to me and told me how much they love these images. I really like how this one came out, especially with the truck in the background. So you can just see how nicely detailed these images come out. Same here, nice fun shot. This is a studio shoot, and you can see how it performs in a studio situation. This was a one light setup, and the client actually, just really loved the way these images came out. This photo was used in a advertisement, and the client loved the way that these came out. And so again, it's just, you can see one thing I really like about this one is how we were able to get kind of a golden color on the skin with just one light. And so it's totally capable of being able to produce golden hour type skin tones without having to use filters, without having to use presets. A little bit of playing around in the files of Sony A7R5 allow you to do that extremely well. This is a situation where we were shooting in harsh light, and even though this image isn't perfect, I really do like the way it came out. I like the detail in the background, and we were able to do a lot of pulls and things like that to really pull out the great detail in this image. And again, this camera handles these more extreme lighting situations very well, because here I had no lighting, no diffuser or anything like that. Same for this shot. You can see what we were able to do. We got a lot of great detail. I was actually with a photography group on top of the Z-Lot parking structure in downtown Detroit, and we were able to get these really nice looking images, and just really cool stuff that we're seeing here. And you can again see how light it was in the before shot, and how we were able to pull and get a really nice looking, well exposed image in the after, and really preserve and save a lot of detail. This was inside the parking structure again. Sunlight coming in. Sometimes the lighting changes skin tone from the sun, especially when you're shooting natural light, and we were able to restore a lot of that and really make the image look very nice. We shot this one through a window in that same parking structure, and you can just see how this thing is really grabs, the eye, and with a little bit of adjustment, we were able to even bring more detail in the eye back here, and really bump up the detail on the image. And it was really dramatic from what I was able to pull, and that was just, again, the way that these files are. It just does a great job at it. And I've I have not shot with Nikon or Canon mirrorless cameras. Only thing I can say is that this camera does a really great job at how these files come out, and that's just how I'm seeing it. Again, we're taking a little bit of a different view here, different kind of pose on the same thing, and we were able to step back enough where we were able to get this building in the background in, and we were able to pull enough detail to get some nice blurry sky and clouds in the background. And this was a really cool looking shot, and you can see just the really nice looking detail on the face and the color of the wig and the outfit. So very, very, very clean looking shot, and very flexible from what you can see in this file. And I think one thing that you're starting to see is that how flexible this camera is. And when you're just shooting a lot of events, portraits, business things, you can just see all of the things that this camera is able to produce. Getting into a couple of pet images. One thing I will say is that I would like to see a bit better performance with the animal autofocusing. I think that could be fixed with a firmware update, because it was hard to get this cat into eyes into focus. But I think that it did a pretty good job of it. Same with this image, this next image. You can again see how we are able to get those eyes really nicely in focus, and just the detail in this shot, especially in the cat's fur, on the nose, the hair, and everything like that. It was I thought was a very spectacular thing to see. This is my sister's dog. She named him Shane, and you can see the kind of really nice detail in the shot. And this is again someone who doesn't really shoot a lot of animals on a regular basis, but that's why I feel like the autofocus could be a little bit better at capturing the eye, but for the most part, I think he did a pretty good job. Same thing with my mother's cat, Mocha, and you can see how how this camera is again able to handle this. But one thing I would like to point out is that this was shot at ISO 500, and you can see how clean the image are, how the grain pattern looks. And I think because there has been some concerns about a 61 megapixel sensor, and that the ISO performance is not as good as it could be. And I find myself really disagreeing with that. There is a level of grain in any photo, and it is how well cameras handle it. Some cameras I've shot with in the past did not handle it very well, but this camera does an excellent job at handling noise, and putting out a grain pattern that makes sense for the image. If I had to say what I think it is, I would think that it's probably the AI system in the camera that is helping out with that. Helping to control the level of noise in this camera. Just another really nice looking shot. This was a very we were shooting under a bridge. um, at one of my favorite locations, and we were able to get some really nice shots out of this one. This this is I do want to point to the ability of any photographer to shoot with any model, regardless of the body type that they may have, and this one I think is pulled off very well constructed costume, and but the way that we were able to pull it out, and especially in a situation where we were dealing with a lot of light, um, you know, we were able to really pull, really pull the shadows and things very well, and get a nice contrasty image. Uh, we were able to get a really nice contrasty image, and something that I'm very proud of that we were able to get out off of this one. And again, that's just the story with this camera, is that it is performing when it comes to taking portraits and doing events. It's performing in every area that I needed to perform in. Just another example. Um, this one was, I thought, one of my favorite event images. I've been trying to pull a shot off like this one for a long time, and we were able to really pull this one very well. And this board, for the most part, most of it was white, and it really handled this situation very well. So this is an image I really like a lot. Um, this was a photography meetup that I went to, and um, I did not have the live exposure effect on, and I kind of went over, but we were able to really bring it back and really pull the color and shadows out of out of the image. I probably could have toned it down a little bit more on the exposure, but I thought it came out very well. Another situation, very similar situation, and we were able to do, of course, the same thing on this one. This image, we were trying to uh, get her in mid-air, which I'm glad that I succeeded at. Just simply go in to the drive mode and switch it from single to multiple to burst shooting, and we were able to really capture this single frame here, and that's with the eyes pretty much in focus. And I really like how it came out. Again, just another very nice image. One thing is that this camera, and you've seen that on a couple of images back, is that this camera does a good job at handling black and whites. And I've seen cameras that have struggled with that. Um, I've had cameras in the past that have had a problem with dealing with black and whites, especially in situations where there was a lot of sun. And so this camera does a really good job at dealing with that. One thing is that I think you've seen in a number of other images is the dynamic range profile that this camera has. Um, and again, this situation right here is when you look at the on the left side, you can see that a lot of the there's some blown out parts on top of the head, in the white of the out of the shirt, especially on the jacket of the young lady that's sitting to her left. You can see a lot of that, and with a little bit of changes, we were able to get a very nice, colorful, and contrasty image that looks very nice. And again, the dynamic range profile on this camera is very good. And there are other cameras that perform very well. I can't speak to them, but this, you know, this camera does. This camera has the goods. This is another low light situation. We had just a single light here, and you know, we were able to really pull the colors and everything out on this one. So really like the way that looks. This image, the reason why I put this one in here, this is using the 51.2 from Sony G Master, and one of my buddies let me borrow this his lens for a couple of shots. I had to give him my 135 as insurance, but you can just see how well it did, and I'll probably make a video on some of my initial thoughts of using that camera for that lens for a few shots. But it did perform in the way that I imagined that it would. Taking a look here, this is again another great example of when you have a lot of sun and a lot of color. And these came out beautifully. This is one of those images that you want to send to the printer and, you know, put up on your wall. And it came out extremely well. And again, there was no modifiers or anything like that. This was just straight natural light outside. This is a single light portrait. We had her squat and really just tried to pull the color so you can do that in low light. So I really like the way it came out. And then the other thing I want to point out is the hair in the face. This is again something that we see a lot in cosplay photography, where the wig is they have to kind of grease the wig in the front to get it to hang over and to be stiff on the face. And the autofocus was able to distinguish between the hair covering part of her eye up, and so it did a good job at that. And so I really just like the way that the colors came out in how everything came together with this particular shot. Moving on to, we got just a few more to go through. Again, just another, you know, just wanted to demonstrate the color again. And obviously I really like going through cosplay images. But just again, a lot of nice color here. Another really good example of the color. This was I've had trouble in the past with having two subjects in an image and the focus hitting very well, especially because I like to shoot a bit more wide open, especially when it's two people. And you can see again, both pairs of eyes are practically tack sharp. A few changes. You can even take a look at the background. You can see the really nice detail. This is obviously blurred out. The really nice detail that you can see in the bushes. You can see these leaves here all look really, really great. And, you know, again, just a little bit of bump up. You can really just isolate, you know, really make these colors pop. Again, just another thing, handles shadows very well. This is one of the reasons why I like to actually put my subjects under in a shadow area, because then I know I can go back and recover and make the light look extremely soft without using a modifier. And you can just see how nicely that came out, and we were just able to really pop that color out. Again, just another one of these outfits, one of these shots where there's a lot of color, a lot of pink, reds, and things of that nature. You can see how well it did at pulling these colors and isolating the detail. A lot of solid red here. You can see how, again, just taking a look at that color and how it pops and things like that, really utilizing the natural light very well. I really like the way this one came out. You can see that in the before picture on your left, that there was just a lot of light that was hitting the skin. And again, this is one of those photos that I mentioned earlier where it does a great job at handling black and whites. And going in closer, you can see how the light, the reds in the contact lenses of the eyes and the lips pop out very well. And so there's just a lot of flexibility that these files from the A7R5 give you. Just a few more images to wrap up here with. Taking a look at this one. Again, very nice looking image here. Love the way that this came out. Just a lot of really nice detail here. And that's one thing that you just see with all of these images. You see excellent focus on the eyes. You see very good performance with the lighting. You also see excellent performance with the color. And that's because the file starts out in a more neutral type of color base. It's not a Canon color profile or a Nikon color profile, but it is a much improved neutral kind of color profile, and makes it a lot easier because you're not spending a lot of time trying to correct for things. And again, I could make the A7R3 files look really good. This just does a much better job. It makes that process a bit easier. This is a business portrait, and you can just see this does a great job, you know. Last image, just wanted to take a quick look at here. Again, this camera does, and this was taken with an 85, and again, this is one of those things where I was in a confined space. I had a lot of trouble in the past getting photos to look this good. But you can see how we were able to just really get these out to be very nice. And even though some of the eyes are a little soft, I think that for the most part, all of these came out very well. So to wrap up, I kind of, I think that the A7R5 is an excellent camera. The files that I've shown you are just a small snippet of what it's able to do, and how flexible you can be with editing images with this camera. And most of these were shot with the 135 GM and the 85 1.4 G Master, and you can see again how well this camera performs, and the results, I think, speak for themselves when it comes to portraits and event photos. So we're going to go ahead and leave it there. Thank you for joining me for going through these images. I love to go through and talk about the images that I've taken. I hope that you enjoyed it. If you have questions, please leave them. Please check me out on Stucky Media at Weebly.com, and on my social media at Stucky Media for Instagram and Facebook. And we'll catch you next time.